What's going on, guys? How's it going? Happy Wednesday afternoon. It's time to make another sit-down Seahawk video. It's been a couple weeks. Let's make some content yet again. All right. First of all, I'm sure you guys have all noticed, I finally gave in and got the quarantine buzz cut. I kind of look like an egg, but it's okay. I'm not going to have to worry about this for at least another 2 months. And who cares if I look like an egg, right? Like, it's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. It's all good. All is well. All right. So, the off season is coming to a close. We should be 15 days away from the start of the season and about 2.5 weeks away from the start of the Seahawks season. So, a couple things have happened over the past few weeks while I haven't been making a video. We've been discussing all these things in my streams. And by the way, if you aren't coming out to the streams, you definitely should consider doing that because we talk about Seahawks stuff all the time in there. If you want to get a sense of how I feel about the day-to-day happenings of this team, you can go there and ask me questions and we'll talk about it. So, yeah. There's been a lot of interesting stuff to come out of camp, a lot of interesting stuff coming out of these mock games we've been playing. I've been keeping up with some of it. I've heard good things about Marquise Blair today at the mock game. I've heard good things about Damian Lewis and Mike Upati for basically the whole camp. I heard some promising things about Ethan Posick, which is a bit of a surprise to me. Obviously heard great things about Metcalf and Jamal Adams and Russell Wilson. Those are certainly guys you would expect to excel no matter what. But yeah, I haven't felt that any of that stuff was video worthy. The closest I got to making a video over the past few weeks about the Seahawks would have to be Everson Griffin signing a measly $6 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys, which did not make me happy, by the way. All I can say about that is he better be a lot more washed up than I think, because to me, getting a guy like Everson Griffin on Seattle was easily worth beating that $6 million offer, maybe by quite a bit, especially if it's only a one-year deal. But didn't happen. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the little punches that this Seahawks team might be landing, because the big punches, as we go on and on, as time goes by, it seems less likely those big punches are going to land. Clowney looks like he's ready to sit out the season if he doesn't get $15 million a year, and I don't think anybody's going to give it to him, and I don't think this team is going to give it to him. So Clowney doesn't seem like it's happening. Yannick Ngakoue, I was waiting for Jacksonville to trade him. Well, I know we were one of the leading contenders to trade for Yannick, and as time goes by, it seems more likely that Jacksonville's just going to sit on him and force him to sit out the season. So that's a perfectly viable strategy to deal with a disgruntled player like this. So I imagine that's probably going to happen at this point. I was kind of interested to see what would happen with Antonio Brown. The 8-game suspension obviously makes him a lot less interesting, but I was keeping an eye on it, and it doesn't really seem like it's going to happen. I think the 8-game suspension probably made a lot of people lose interest in him, as I think it did for the Seahawks. And the final one that I was modestly hoping for, the one that I was being very, a simple, easy one that you think would be pretty almost rudimentary to get, was the Josh Gordon thing. And that's not going to happen either. The league isn't going to let him back in right now, it looks like. And I get it, but then again, I don't get it. So nothing we can do there. We've got 2.5 weeks until the season starts, and Josh Gordon hasn't been reinstated, so I don't know if we can count on him being reinstated in time for the season to start at this point. We have to get going. So we did, however, bring in a couple of people this morning that I felt was newsworthy, at least a little noteworthy. They are not the big punches that I was hoping for. They weren't even the little punches, but they might be enough to push us up a little bit. So we brought in two familiar faces today, and I'll address them one by one. First, Paul Richardson, former Seahawk, former Redskin receiver. We brought him in, we took a look at him, and it sounds like he's actually about to be signed. So the receiver position in Seattle, after an interesting offseason with regards to what we might be doing at the position, there were rumors that we were going to sign AB. Obviously, the Josh Gordon stuff, we drafted a guy, we picked up a couple guys, we signed Philip Dorsett. It's starting to look an awful lot like it was last year. We have Lockett and Metcalf at the top, which is awesome. But To my surprise, as of right now, it kind of looks ugly after those two guys. You have David Moore, who he's got some talents, but he's certainly not anything special, and at least not right now. We have Cody Thompson, who I don't think he's caught a pass in the NFL. We have Philip Dorsett nursing a foot injury that sounds like it might linger for a little bit. So that's not good. And then we have John Ursua, who I'm not terribly excited about, but he's also injured right now. And then you get down to guys like Freddie Swain, a raw rookie, and Penny Hart, who I seriously doubt belongs on any NFL roster right now. So suddenly our receiver position, it looks a little thin, kind of like it did last year. And last year it was a problem. So we are dealing with the problem for the moment by bringing in Paul Richardson. And my thoughts on this are I really want to bring in Josh Gordon. But nothing the team can do about that. This is not on the team. There's plenty of stuff I get mad for with this team. This is not going to be one of those things. We can't wait forever for Josh Gordon to get reinstated. Paul Richardson has some familiarity with Russell Wilson. He has familiarity with this team. He's proven that he can make big plays and can produce and can be a good player when healthy. He's just almost never healthy. If you're being realistic, we're bringing in Paul Richardson to buy some time. Buy some time for Dorsett to get healthy. Buy some time for, if you believe in Ursua, him to get healthy. Buying time for maybe Josh Gordon to get reinstated at some point. But it's not a bad option. So my thoughts on bringing in Paul Richardson are okay, I guess. Not much more to say about it other than if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, it's not a bad place to be scraping. The next guy we brought in, another familiar face, a very familiar face, Justin Britt. So I will say this. I want to thank this team for deciding to handle things like this. Because it would have been all too predictable for this team to just decide, no, we're just going to keep him on the last year of his deal. It doesn't matter. It's on the last year of his deal. We don't care about the money. No, we cut him, and now we are thinking about bringing him back for presumably the veteran minimum of $1 million and something. I am not going to waste any time getting mad about this team signing one of their old role players for the veteran minimum. The reason why I was mad about potentially keeping Justin Britt around was just because he was getting paid $11 million to not even be an average player. I have no problem with bringing in a player like Justin Britt for depth. So I'm not upset about that part of it. If Justin Britt wants to come back for a cheap one-year deal, he can certainly do that, and I will welcome him back. And I will hope that he can find ways to positively contribute on this team. What this concerns me about, what makes me concerned, what's going on with BJ Finney? Because I've been following the camp stuff, and I've heard, oh, BJ Finney's going to be the starting center. Oh, wait a minute, Ethan Posick just swooped in and took his starting job. It looks like Ethan Posick's going to be the starting center. BJ Finney's going to be the backup center. Okay. Is BJ Finney going to move to guard in the meantime? No, Mike Upati looks great. Mike Upati is solidly the starting left guard. Okay, what about right guard? No, they love Damian Lewis. Damian Lewis has looked awesome so far. Okay. Now, competition is good. Competition is good. If these players are bringing out the best in one another by forcing them to compete and forcing them to work hard in order to stay at the top of their game, then awesome. But what's going on with BJ Finney? Is he not playing well? Is he just not winning these battles? Does he look like crap? Because BJ Finney was one of the few moves we made this offseason that I actually kind of liked. And now I'm hearing he doesn't even look like he's going to start for us. So that's a bunch of money we plunked down on a backup offensive lineman, which, hey, you want to get a couple guys competing against each other and then you want to pick the guy who does the best. I understand that. But if we end up benching BJ Finney before he plays a single game for us and we're paying him $4 million a year for the next 2 years to be a backup, I don't like that. And the fact that we are now bringing in Justin Britt has me thinking maybe we're really concerned about Finney. Maybe he really looks like hot garbage. Maybe he's just unplayable. And that's not what I need from one of the few moves we made this offseason that I actually really liked. Other than that, I'm fine. Things are going good with this team right now. I'm pretty happy with what I'm hearing. There are holes on this roster, and I feel like this team needs to be pushing a little bit harder to patch those holes. I would love to give up our second round pick for Yannick Ngakoue, just as an example. Give me that deal any day of the week. If you can get the Jaguars to do that, do it 100 times out of 100. If whatever you need to do in order, if they're not doing everything they can to get Josh Gordon reinstated personally, then okay, maybe we should be doing that. But I just wanted to go ahead and talk about those two little topics, and I'm going to go ahead and get on my way. Stream later tonight because there are no sports on tonight, it looks like. Lovely. All right. Come check me out in the stream a little later. Go Hawks. And yeah, what do you think? What do you guys think about bringing in Paul Richardson and Justin Britt? As much as I hate bringing in the old studs, as much as I hate this whole idea of, hey, we have to keep bringing back guys that we used to have, as much as that strategy really gets on my nerves, at this point, it might be the best we can do. And those are my thoughts. Peace out.